in this might take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
What we're saying is our personal experience and opinion, and it doesn't mean that you have to have that either. So
It's
for me,
challenging. Yeah.
so that's the whole reason why we wanted to kind of do this is, one, there are a lot of people out there that are stressing financially, and two, there's a lot of people that are in the same predicament of like, do I, don't I?
Cool. If we can raise awareness about how much it costs or other maybe things, and just to know that you're not alone. Like we're thinking about this often. Like it's not like we've been like tick and flick, you know, we don't talk about it ever. It's like it's constant.
It was like such a cop out for me, because it's like, people have said that to me, like,
Yeah.
you will never understand, like, you don't get it. You are, let's say you and me, Matt, right now, we don't have a house, and we're thinking about having a kid in the next 6 months. We better off get the house now.
Estimated cost to send a child from prep to year 12 in a major city.
Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we actually have a very different kind of episode. We have a special guest. We have Jess here. So, who are you?
I am Jess.
What do you do?
I'm a financial advisor. So I've been authorized to give personal financial advice since the end of 2018.
She knows her shit.
Yeah, well, I'd like to think so.
Yeah, you do. All right.
I've got notes.
Yeah, we've got notes. So we have previously met up last week and just like discussed a few things that we want to speak about today. And we have honestly just started this video exactly raw right now. We've just got in the car purely to like show you that it's like, we're not making shit up. We're like, it's just organic. And the reason why we're jumping on YouTube today to do this kind of episode is just to kind of like give a whole different perspective that I feel like the internet really lacks.
Yeah.
I feel like the internet lacks.
Nobody talks about it.
No one talks about it. It's like this forbidden fruit.
Yeah.
Like no one's allowed to talk about it. Everyone just like suffers in silence. And like for my own experience, I've had so many moments where I'm like, am I alone in this? Until I kind of spoke up, and then we've spoken a couple of times at the gym, and I'm like, oh my God, I relate to you, which is super nice. So hopefully in some way or another you take this and you go, oh my God, I'm not alone in my thoughts. And you know, you just kind of feel a little bit somewhat better, because I know that I definitely did. So a little bit of background to what we're speaking about today is just being kid-free or choosing to be having children and everything that kind of comes between that. I am nearly 31 and I have chosen to be kid-free. What do they call it? There's like this thing on it. It's like
The acronym of like a DINK.
Yeah.
Dual income, no kids.
Dual income, no kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're dinks.
Yes, we're dinks. So even in that, I feel like that we have to romanticize that.
Yeah.
We're dinks.
Yeah.
Dual
dinks
income.
Great.
Dual income.
No kids.
No kids.
But fur babies. Can we put that
Fur
in?
babies. How do we put that in? Dinks. We are dinks.
Yeah.
Dual income, no kids.
Yeah.
And like kind of romanticizing the fact that there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And we are very fucking happy
in
that choice.
Yeah.
Even though society tells us, maybe you just haven't met the right one.
We have.
We have, bro. We have. So I'm, as a 31-year-old nearly, in November I turned 31.
I was going to say you know.
In November I turned 31.
Yeah, I'm there next week.
Yeah. I
Crazy.
actually 31 next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, as soon as it's like half the year, I'm like, I'm 31. Matt's like, no, you're not. It's January.
Well, actually, we'll be in our 32nd year once we turn 31. So we're in our 31st year right now. So actually,
honestly, I say I'm 31 6 months before I actually turn it. Like even for my 30th, I was like, I'm 30. Matt's like, no, you're not. I'm like, well, I feel like I am. And I feel like 30 sounds cool. Like,
well, yeah.
again.
I mean, being 30, being in our 30s, choosing not to have kids as well. Like
it's
that's living.
Living. So yeah, like I said, we're both 31.
You're aging us. You're aging us.
I have a partner. I have been with Matt for, I don't know, 8, 9 or 10 years. Not really sure. We have 2 fur babies and we have a beautiful house together that we've been renovating for the last 4 years. That in itself, financially, we thought it was only going to take 1 year.
Yeah.
But yeah, 4 years, really slow process. Still have so long to go. And Jess, who are you?
Well, yeah, I'm married. Got married 2 years ago. Or 2.5 years ago, been with my husband now for going on 16 years in January. So a really long time. We bought our house nearly 10 years ago now. 2 fur babies, they're 10 and nearly 10. So yeah, what more could you ask for?
Yes, literally, what else could you ask for?
Yeah. But not only, I suppose, is it around deciding not to have children, but it's like the uncertainty, I suppose, of not knowing whether you want to. So like there's some stats that I've got here to talk through, which just cover off, I suppose, like things that you might want to think about or that you might not have ever thought about in terms of deciding to have kids, because I think we've spoken as well, it's not a decision that I take lightly in any case. Like I know people just get that maternal sort of instinct to be like, I just want to be a mother so bad that nothing else matters. Whereas I think about so many
Same.
other aspects of having a baby that makes me think, holy like crap, nobody else is actually realizing, you know, the gene pool that we spoke about and the financial side of things, which is obviously why I've got some things to talk through, but financial, mental as well. Like you see more
How
people,
much capacity you have.
yeah, and like how little capacity I feel I have with certain things like patience or, you know, overstimulation.
Stimulation.
Yeah, and noise and, you know, things being
Mess.
out of place and
Yeah.
disorder. I'm just
Yeah.
like, I won't cope well with that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We sometimes feel like we're the only people that think about all of these things.
Yeah.
Where for me, like having kids doesn't just come with waking up tomorrow and going, I'm gonna have a kid and I'll just figure it out.
Yeah.
Having kids for me is like, oh, I actually have a long list of shit that I need to work on.
Yeah.
Because I also feel like, and again, this might not relate to you, and anything in this might take it with a grain of salt. What we're saying is our personal experience and opinion, and it doesn't mean that you have to have that either. So for me, I feel like, and this has been that way for like probably the whole time I've known Matt, it's like, oh, I have some trauma I need to work on and I don't want to pass this on.
Yeah, that too. Like I've spoken with friends as well, and they're kind of like, if I'm dealing with this, obviously it's in my gene pool as well. Like who's to say that that's not going to be reciprocated in your little being, like that you're creating.
Yeah.
I'm like, the one thing that would make me want to have a child is just being like, cool, a mini half me, half Josh. I'm like, that'd be so cute.
Yeah, same.
But then like there's so many other things
But-
that I'm just like, I can't see that enough that that's all I want.
Same. Yeah. And that's the
Yeah.
thing for me, especially. I think of my, oh, it'd be so nice because, like, in a way, that would be like us as a unity and it would be really family. But I'm like, wait, but why aren't we a family already?
Well, yeah, you
And
are.
like, why am I
Yeah.
making that mean that we're not family?
Yeah.
Like, we call our dogs like our dogs. We're like, go to dad, go to mom's. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
we actually already have
Yeah.
that. But it was never because I want kids because this is going to be the best thing. It was like,
Mm.
I don't want to lose you. How can I make you stuck with me? And I'm so glad I obviously went to therapy and chose that instead. I have asked a couple of my one-on-one clients for some questions, and we obviously met last week and we have like spoken about it so she could get some stats for you, so that we weren't just like riffing off like random numbers. We
Yeah.
actually have some real evidence behind all of that. Because again, like a big one for me, and I spoke about this on my social media a couple of weeks ago, actually on my TikTok now, I uploaded it as a full thing. We can feel so alone in these things, and we're actually not alone.
Yeah.
And looking at these stats, like we're not.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, one of them was around like wanting to have children.
Yeah.
So this is actually like statistics of how much people want to have a children in the future by gender, based on people between the ages of 20 and 24. So obviously they're still young, figuring out life. Obviously we're in our 30s now, and we're still figuring out whether that's something that we want. But it was really interesting for people to be like, no children, but definitely do not want. And you know, it was a lower percentage. So for males, that was actually like 5%, and then 5.8% for the females. But the no children but very much want, it was interesting to see that actually like the males was a higher percentage than females. And I just take that to say it's easier for a guy to say they want to have kids compared to a female.
Yeah.
Because what really changes for them? They still get to go to work, they still keep their bodies, and
Nothing really. Like even
Other
their
than-
friendship groups.
they don't really have to go through hormonal changes,
Yeah.
time off work.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you get your 2 weeks of parental leave and then you go back to reality.
Yeah.
And here we are, we have to take 6, 12. I mean, people want to take that time off because obviously they're having the time with their baby, but then mentally they might need to go back to work or financially. So you're forced into making decisions that perhaps you don't want to. No children, but definitely want. So like 36% of females in that age group actually said that they they don't have children currently but definitely want. No children but very much want was a lower percentage. No children but maybe was 10% of females and like 20% of males.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. And then no children but probably do not want was around 8% of females and 6% of males.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are a lot of people who still want children, and then there's a small percentage that have children already. But it's the definitely do not want, probably do not want, or maybes that I think is still growing.
Yeah.
Like over the time, I think a lot of people there, you know, and we've seen birth rates decline over the number of years. That's some more of the statistics as well, is that especially in Victoria and Tassie and New South Wales, people are actually not having as many babies these days as they were, say, 5 years ago. And obviously that was COVID.
Yes.
Like, what else was there to do other than make babies?
Literally. And because we were all getting paid for doing nothing.
Yeah.
Some of us were much better off than others.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was like, well, you might as well. I'm getting
Yeah.
this for free, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the birth rates are actually reducing, so less people are having babies. I think that's also important. Like, as an advisor, I have a lot of clients who don't have children, and I've got a lot of clients who have children. And I got to say, like, the difference that having children versus not having children for your financial future is significant. And like for some, you know, they might consume all that extra income, but for others where they're just like, oh, well, I'm not obviously spending, you know, $50,000 a year on school fees or whatever. It like some schools are that expensive. A lot of people will have more, I guess, funds available for their own life.
Yeah.
Compared to obviously putting it back into your children.
Yeah, definitely. And even just like in my own experience of that, like I've had so many people say, you're so lucky, you get to go on all these holidays. And I'm like, well, I've chosen though.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you've got 2-3 kids, but that was your choice. And
Yeah.
my choice is to be kid free. So I'm not lucky. We just have different choices.
Yeah, agree. And I say that a lot as well. Like, you know, you go to work and people are like, oh, I'm so tired, kids didn't sleep, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're so lucky you get to wake up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym. Like,
Yeah.
again, a choice
Yeah.
we make
Yeah.
to wake up early, to move our bodies, and a choice that you made to have children, which
And
will
not be able to go to the gym. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's all still a choice.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that kind of, I wouldn't say like pisses me off, but for lack of better words, I'm like, that was just a choice that you made.
Yeah.
But even still in hearing that, sometimes it's almost like they're thinking that that's such a cop out, but it's
Yeah.
like, well, these are the things that I think about personally.
Mhm.
Like, and Matt thinks about, like, when we have open discussions around, you know, are you still thinking you don't want kids? Like, we often talk about that because to make sure we're on the same page, because just because I have one opinion doesn't mean I can change it. I mean, like, I liked my hair flipper bloody blonde at one stage and now I like my hair this color, you know? So
Yeah.
you're allowed to change your mind. So me and
Yeah.
Matt do have open discussions around, like, hey, are you still here?
Mm.
And we're both always like, yeah, I'm not ready to give up
Yeah.
my life. And he's like, yeah, same.
Yeah.
And that's always like the base of our discussion. It's like, I'm not in a position to give up everything that I
Yeah.
have right now, and so that actually means more to me than having kids. So that's the choice that I'm at.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I mean, I've had friends who have been not forced into the decision to have children, but it's been pressured by medical concerns as well.
Yeah.
So like friends who've had you know, the tests and the scans, and they realize that they have, you know, really low egg count, or
Yeah.
they have endometriosis.
Yeah.
And it's like knowing that having a baby or conceiving is actually going to be difficult in any case.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like, well, I'm not going to be so cautious in avoiding pregnancy if it's going to be hard regardless, because you know, that mindset to be like, oh, I'm actually like triggered to be like, not wanting them, now I actually want them because I might not be able to have them.
Yes.
Whereas, you know, I've had all the scans and stuff, so like my egg count's still very good. I have longer cycles, so I know that I'm not losing as many eggs as maybe somebody with a 20-day cycle, for example. So I think it's important as well is to know like your own genetics, and you know, whether your mum went through early menopause, like all of those things will factor into the decision making. Because I'm like, at the moment, 31, we've still got a really good amount of time that, you know, egg count's still going to be good.
And my partner's like 10. Sorry. He's not, if you're watching this and he watches on my YouTubes, he's not 10, he's 26, guys.
Bless. Yes, but also
So, like, you know,
the men's like,
and he doesn't do steroids, he's
Yeah.
never touched a drug in his life, like,
Yeah.
very healthy, also very active.
yeah, so
obviously
that
more-
all plays into it too.
testosterone.
Yeah.
So I have no doubt that if we chose,
Yeah,
it would
do it.
happen like this.
Yeah.
And I have a deep inner belief of that too. But also,
I say that often.
yeah, if I decided to have a kid,
Yeah.
I have a deep inner belief that it would probably happen the first go.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
don't
'cause
know
we
why.
know when we ovulate.
I don't know why that is, but that's just how
Yeah.
I am. And like when people say to me like, "Oh, don't you get worried about like changing your mind and you not being able to have kids?" That I don't even let that play in my mind. But also in saying that, my sister tried once, got pregnant. My mum tried once, got pregnant. My
Yeah.
mum did have a miscarriage and all that kind of stuff. But I still have this deep inner knowing of like it would just happen. I'm very healthy. I don't have any, contraindications. But however, like there are people like you just mentioned that I know personally who have been told you're
It's going to be very hard.
you're 35 now, you have endo,
That's
and
hard.
they've just been with their partner for like 12 months and it's hard.
Yeah.
And I even like watching them kind of go through that in itself is challenging because it's like they don't actually want kids right now
Yeah.
because they know how
But they're
challenging
feeling
it
forced
is.
to make a decision.
But then they're kind of being forced to make a decision because otherwise, if not now, it might not happen. And that's scary.
That is scary. And I mean, like with
Yeah.
modern technology as well, like it's
I know.
a medicine probably, not technology. What a medicine.
Well, it's kind of both, isn't
yeah.
it?
Well, true.
Yeah, it's kind of both.
Yeah, I guess, there's the freezing of eggs and,
Yeah.
and things like that, egg collections,
Yeah.
all of that. But yeah, I think if I was scared into making a decision like that, like if I had that sort of same thing to be like, you may not be able to, then obviously I wouldn't be, avoiding sex in certain periods of my cycle because
Yeah.
I'm like, we can't have a baby right now.
Yeah, we're not smashing. Stay away. But yeah, definitely, it would be different.
Incapacity. So obviously
Yes.
people, and it's happened with a couple of my friends before where they've had a baby and then they've wanted to refinance their mortgage or
Get a
things like
bigger
that.
house. Or,
Yeah. Potentially move away, but because they then have another mouth to feed, regardless of it whether it's a baby being breastfed, the banks don't care. Borrowing capacity and how many children actually will impact that is quite interesting. Like you see 0 obviously doesn't impact borrowing capacity. We all good as a dink.
Yes,
The-
another great reason to be a dink.
I would probably say if you were thinking of having a baby, you need to get your finances in order basically, because after the fact won't help
Yeah.
you.
So basically, what you're saying is, if you are, let's say you're me and Matt right now, we don't have a house, and we're thinking about having a kid in the next 6 months, we better off get the house now, try and get the
yeah.
borrowing power before. And then we have a kid, it will be much harder because we have someone else to feed. So basically,
Yeah.
you just need to get everything ahead of you,
100%.
even if you're not necessarily ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%, because one child reduces your borrowing capacity by 51,500.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's huge. And then 2 is just shy of 90,000. 3 is 126,000. I'm rounding. 4 is 162,775. And then 5 is just shy of $200,000. And I don't know many people who are having 5 children these days, but still, reducing your borrowing capacity by 200K
Wow.
is crazy, especially when the market's so, hot right now. And anything that you see out there, like they're always going at the end of the scale or beyond. So
Yeah.
borrowing capacity, like their stats from a mortgage broker from 11 Financials, I think it's really important just to think ahead. Like don't just think about the baby and the now. Like you do need to be anticipating change. Another question that was raised in your community was around like how much should families save. So saying like on average in the first year of having a baby, you should aim to have around 10 to 13,000 on hand. And that obviously comes into the costs of hospitals and obviously whether you've got private or public, just private health, or whether you're going through the public system. There are still out-of-pocket costs, which I think a lot of people do get
Yes.
caught out by, because they're like, oh, I didn't realize that this wouldn't be covered, because having a baby is not 100% free. Like all of your scans cost a lot of money.
Yes.
So like even if you're going through the public hospital, they've said Medicare cover part of it, but there's about $1,500 of out-of-pocket expenses. And obviously if you're going private, it can be between $2,500 to $20,000.
Wow.
Health insurance, obviously that comes into play, and that's around $3,000 to $4,500. Ultrasounds, $240 to $340. Medicare rebate cuts about $50 to $85. So the first child will cost anywhere between $3,000 and $13,000 in the first year alone.
Yeah. All I'm saying is like, that's
Sell us ads.
yeah. All I'm saying is that's holiday funds.
Yeah.
That's my bathroom renovation.
Well, yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people don't actually think about that at the very beginning. Like I've had friends who have been like, oh, like, yeah, my scan's coming up. Like I didn't realize.
Scans. That's the biggest one that I've heard that many times.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I didn't realize the scans would cost so much every single time.
And
like,
depending on the kind of pregnancy you're having as well, like some people have to have more scans.
Correct.
And you know, if it like I know the gestational diabetes, like if that comes into play, then you have to have more scans, more monitoring. That all costs money, obviously.
Yeah, well, even, and then also if you do have private health, like my sister had to have a emergency C-section, so she has private health.
Did she have the pregnancy on it?
Yeah, she had that, but because it was emergency C-section, she got a bill, an even bigger bill.
Crazy.
Yeah, so little things like that, where she's like,
you wouldn't
if she had a planned the C-section, it wouldn't have been additional, but because it was an emergency, I think she got, I don't quote me, but I think it was like $2,000 extra.
Wild.
Yeah, so you've already paid private.
Yeah.
And then you have that bill.
Yeah.
That you didn't account for.
Yeah.
Because you didn't know you're going to have an emergency.
Yeah, that's so true. But even to that as well, like private health, like for example, at the moment, like I don't have pregnancy covered on mine because I'm like, it's not in my foreseeable future at the moment. And I know the public system is so good too that I'm like, would I even bother going down that private route? Like, maybe, maybe not.
Yeah.
Because I've had so many friends who have had babies just at the Frankston Hospital and they did a really good job and it didn't really cost them, you know, like it would to go private.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I guess it depends on your doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. And your midwife and all the
because
rest
like
of it.
my sister's, she went private again. And that's purely because she wanted the same doctor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that's the one thing is choice of doctor you get.
If you want private or your doctor, if you want a specific doctor and they're only private, well, you have to either pay or you go private. Yeah. But then you have to plan ahead for that because we don't have private health for pregnancy. So.
Exactly. And I think you need to have it for at least like 12 months.
Yeah,
like
12
same
months.
thing with like
Jobs.
dental and yeah, it's like anything you just have to plan ahead basically. Like you can't last minute just be like, I'll just add pregnancy and I'm already pregnant. Like
oops.
Yeah.
You can't hide it.
No, and they're not gonna they're gonna be like, sorry, we won't cover this one, but maybe the next.
Yeah.
The other thing was around superannuation. So obviously since the 1st of July, the new legislation has come into place that the government is paying the 12% super guarantee on paid parental leave payments. Before that, nobody got super.
So
is this clapping?
claps.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that changed, so that's great. But 12%.
Well, yeah, that's the standard super guarantee that all employers have to pay their staff. So that's why they've just adopted the current schedule. But obviously at the moment, so we've got 24 weeks is the amount of paid parental leave that you get if you just get the government paid parental leave. So you get $948.10 a week for 24 weeks. And then you're sort of on your own after that point, unless you are, you know, in a position where your employer has been able to give, you know, some of their parental leave entitlements. If you're lucky enough to be in a job that does that, like kudos to you because that's amazing. Because it's not for everybody,
and that's rare.
It's so rare.
I think that's the biggest misconception.
Yeah.
Like even for me, I was expecting that you would get that in your job, but you don't.
Nope, I just get standard.
And you're a big corporate company.
Yeah.
And so I was assuming, and this is something that I've always said, like you're almost like worse off working for a small business because you don't get those benefits. But
yeah,
like,
I proof that both. I'm like, I was at small business, then moved to a big corporation. Neither offered it.
Yeah.
And I did think, I was like, oh, maybe the next firm that I moved to, so I was at the last one for 9 years. I thought, in my head, I was like, maybe I'll get somewhere that has parental leave, but it wasn't a priority for me because it's still up in the air at this point. But yeah, just the standard government leave. So it's no better.
So 24 weeks at
$948.10. So you would receive $113.77 per week for super guarantee, which is a total of $2,731 for the year. So they're going to be paying that for anybody who's had a baby since the 1st of July this year. So if you had your baby on the 30th of June, sorry, you're out.
Fuck.
Yeah. So anybody from the 1st of July, they pay it in July 2026. So you should see $2,731 from the government putting into your super at that point. And then next financial year, they're actually increasing it from 24 weeks to 26 weeks. So, claps.
The claps again.
That's great.
I mean, yeah, okay.
Yeah. But then if anybody is, you know, because 2,700, I'm like, that's pennies for me, like, compared to what I'm currently putting into super. So if you were ever concerned about, you know, missing out on the super that you had been receiving, and then you're obviously going to drop it considerably, you can make other contributions into super. There's something called super splitting. So obviously the partners are still working their job. They can actually split, you know, up to, I think it was like 70%. Don't quote me. I should have scratched up on that one. Anyway, they can split, no, maybe it's 85%.
You can find out.
You can find out. But
That's your homework. We've done all the rest for you.
Yeah. So they can split some of their contributions into your super fund. So, you know, if they were getting 10 grand and they split 50-50, at least you're both sort of on level playing fields at that point, rather than him just, or she, you know, whoever, adding to their super and you're missing out for the period of time that you're out of the workforce. Because some people are out of the workforce for years. Like some people, they're like, oh, well, the cost of private childcare, is going to be more. You're either out of pocket or you're making $10. And so they might just say, oh, I'll wait until they're out of daycare. And
I have a few clients that haven't gone back to work. And they're on their third, fourth kid. And they don't really plan on going back. So I know it'd always be interesting to know, like, are they getting super?
Yeah, a lot of people don't. So I often see, you know, it's literally 9 times out of 10 the male counterpart has more than the female. Purely, and it's especially when they have children. When they don't have children, sometimes the female actually has more than the male. I
have more than that because I always put more in.
Well, I'm gaining on Josh only because he's 3 years older than me, but I'm very close to surpassing
I definitely
him
have
soon.
more than that. I mean, well, I'm much older than
and you're
that.
older,
but I make more payments into that.
I think it's important to know, don't forget about your retirement savings as well, because you're like, if you've got kids, you're going to need something, because when you retire, if you have no super at that point, as well as having children who probably still want your support, what are you going to do? And I think that's the scary thing as well, is like, kids aren't leaving home at 18 these days, they're leaving at 28. So when you think, it's like, it's no longer 18 years, like, yes, they're adults and on their own, but they're not. All the adults are just living at home until they can.
Well, my brother only just moved out.
And he's older than
32.
you. Yeah, that's what I mean.
He just moved out.
So wait, he lived at home the entire time?
Yes.
Never moved out in between?
No, he's just moved out this year with his girlfriend.
I hope that he saved a lot of money living at home.
He did. He's bought 2 houses.
Oh, good. That's good. See, as long as, like, you're making the most of living at home.
Joel, trust me.
Yeah.
He bought 2 houses.
Oh, that's
and now
good.
it's 2 investment properties. Maybe even 3, I can't remember.
Yeah. Thank God.
Yeah.
Because there are people who are living at home not
taking advantage of that, literally.
Yeah. And I think that's another thing that parents need to be teaching their children about, you know, the financial literacy, and you know, even if they don't want them paying board, charge them anyway and just
then
save
put it somewhere else.
Just save it for them.
100%.
Like, help your children for their future.
I would do that for sure.
Yeah.
Well, even like we have an account for banks. So for his birthday, instead of just buying him like pointless things when he doesn't really need it, we just put it into his bank account.
Yeah.
And then he will one day have maybe enough money to buy a car, or like buy his first unit or something. Like, you know, like always thinking about the future.
Yeah.
And that I'm really blessed that my parents always did that for us. Like, I was always around a business family, like around the table, we're always speaking about business. My dad had a business. And so like, it was always not just about what we're doing today. It was like your future. Like, I bought my first investment property at 20. That is huge in itself.
And
I'm so glad that like that was passed on to from my parents. And I think that's what I think a lot of us lack.
And people, I think, they get embarrassed talking about money. So, you know, and even parents themselves, like, if they don't have
for sure
a decent amount of financial literacy, it can be difficult for them to want to, you know, showcase what other options are out there if they didn't do it themselves. Like, I think that's the thing. It's like, if they don't know, then how are they meant to talk about it either? Like, through lived experiences. you know, my mum, she always speaks about her flop of a property that she purchased in Kalgoorlie. I'm like, yeah, well, why did you purchase in Kalgoorlie? And anyway, it's a mining state, so she figured it might have gone well. No, made a total loss on it. And let's just say that property is not the only way to make money either. And like, even to the point of, you know, saving for banks in a bank account, that's all good and well too, but like there's no growth in that. So there are options which like we're recommending for clients as well, which are actually like investment options that you can pass on to the child at certain vesting dates of their life. So maybe it's 18 for their first car or 25 for their first house or whatever, but you can change ownership at that point to that child, and they've been able to have this investment grow for them because it's invested in the market, and it's better than obviously what cash is doing.
Correct.
Seeing as interest rates are just going down at this point. But yeah, I think, and again, things that a lot of people don't think about because they're just stuck in the now, and then they wake up one day and like, I wish I had have done that for them. But it's like, well, you could have if you thought about it more. But again, it's like,
I think sometimes having good support around you in terms of like, even my accountant, like he's always challenging me like, okay, cool, you have this, what are you going to do with this money? And I'm like, I don't know.
Good question.
I'm like, what do you mean? Europe? And he's like, what's going to make you more money? And I'm like, oh yes, like maybe I should put that into my house reno and do the extension because that will make me more money in return. So little things like that where I'm like, oh yeah, like getting people that like tick your brain a little bit into like forward thinking. You know, instead of just being like, I've got this money that I've saved, paid my BAS, and now I have this left over. Oh, I just go to Europe. It's kind of made me like, well, wait, that's good. But like,
you want to live now too.
I
but
want to think about the future too, because I don't always want to be in this house. I want to go on to the next level.
Or education costs. This was a big one. So the estimated cost to send a child from prep to year 12 in a major city, so like Melbourne, Sydney, whatever, $123,000.
Is that public? Or private?
Yeah, it's just like all the
Why
school
did
fees.
I think that public was free?
No, I mean, they have to pay school fees plus like books, uniforms, excursions, all of that. Prep to year 12. That's what it's going to cost.
Is this vodka? Because I need a drink after that. Fucking hell.
Yeah, and then the cost estimated was significantly higher for families choosing Catholic and independent education, which is just shy of $200,000. That's per child. So if you have 3 kids, it's gonna, and you want to send them to private schooling, it's probably upward of $600,000.
Holy moly.
Yeah. So it says, 92% of the expenses were ancillary, because obviously the 8% of the school levies and fees that you have to pay. So it isn't free. But yeah, it's electronic. Oh yeah, because now they want everybody to have a laptop
and
or an
iPads
iPad,
and all that kind of stuff.
which is crazy. Thank God that we didn't have books with pens.
I know, even with Matt, like he'll be like, oh, in school we had laptops. And I was like, laptops? We had shared IT rooms.
Literally.
And that was like once a fortnight. And he's like, oh, we just played games the whole time. And I was like, oh my God, imagine your dad paying $200K to go to Peninsula private school and you just played computer games.
Yeah, that's crazy. I was like, my mum didn't want to even buy contact for my books. Like, you know, the
I didn't
coloring
have
thing.
that.
Yeah. She was like, no
No way.
Take your book.
Yeah, no
I was like, oh, but I want it to be colourful like everybody. That's like, the sports equipment, uniforms, camps, excursions, transport, coaching, outside tuition, potentially electronic devices. So,
and that's not even included school sports or like out of school sports.
No, exactly.
Because
and they're expensive.
Well, then you have the uniforms, and then you have to play the games, and then you have the season.
Yeah.
Like, it's no wonder. Like,
and your life is gone.
Because
all you're doing
your
is
weekends,
taking your kids to sports.
I know heaps of my hair clients are like that. Like, oh, my weekends are spent doing all the kid stuff, which again is not really spoken about, is it? Like, I guess like what I hear a lot of in both my jobs, in hairdressing and coaching, is like the constant financial stress that my clients are having. And I guess like in hearing all these statistics, whatever, it's no surprise here, because this is
Fair.
like all of these hidden costs that you're
Yeah.
like, why am I never getting ahead? And maybe you were once someone who constantly was seeing your account even go up by $100 a week or $50 a week, and now you're not seeing really an increase on any of that. Of course you're going to have that financial stress. Of course you're going to feel like you're not being a good mum, like,
Yeah.
and that's the thing, like, it's not that you're not a good mum, it's just that like all of this
Yeah.
isn't really heavily spoken about, and it's challenging.
Yeah.
So that's the whole reason why we wanted to kind of do this, is one, there are a lot of people out there that are stressing financially, and two, there's a lot of people that are in the same predicament of like, do I, don't I, what's the pros and cons here, and you probably haven't even thought about all these
Yeah.
as cons.
Yeah, that's why it was good to sort of be like, cool, if we can raise awareness about
Yeah.
how much it costs or other maybe things, and just to know that you're not alone. Like, we're thinking about this often. Like, it's not like
Yeah.
we've been like, tick and flick, you know, we don't talk about it ever. It's like,
No.
it's constant. Like,
Yeah.
not all of my friends, but a lot of my friends
Same.
have babies.
Yeah.
And, you know, when they speak about things that I feel like I just can't relate to, because obviously I don't have a child other than my fur babies. I'm like, they're children. I look after them very well.
Yeah.
But, you know, when they talk about, you know, you'll never feel the love that you do, you know, in your partner or even in your kids until you have them. And I feel like that's such an unfair statement as well. And perhaps it's true, but I just think when they say, you know, oh, you fall in love with your partner all over again when you see them as a father, and I'm like, that's lovely, but I do see Josh as a father.
Same.
Because I'm like, the way he cares about the dogs, I'm like, imagine that being a human being as well. I'm like, of course,
I know,
like, amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that it's kind of unfair to say that.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
wouldn't feel
I
that same
agree.
love.
And it feels like such a cop out for me, because it's like, people have said that to me, like,
Yeah.
you will never understand, like, you don't get it. And to be honest with you, I actually had this conversation with Matt the other day, because I coach pre and post pregnancy. I'm very qualified now, and I actually got to the root of like why I went and did my advanced pre and post. And at the start I was like, I'm just doing it because I want to know more. But when I got to the root of like actually what that actually meant, it was because I was feeling like an imposter, because
yeah.
so many people kept saying, you don't get it,
You wouldn't know.
wouldn't understand. And that was making me feel like, what the fuck? But the truth is, what I have come to the conclusion, and I said this to Matt the other day, and he's like, wow, Max, that is actually so good. This is such a great perspective. As you guys know, there are surgeons out there that are males that, you know, give
Gynecologists or anything, yeah.
gynecologists, and they, you know, deliver babies.
Midwives, yeah.
They don't have a vagina, they've never given birth, and yet they are so fucking good at their job. Not every single surgeon has had a nose job, facelift,
Yeah.
breast augmentation, and that doesn't make them underqualified.
Yeah.
And so just because I don't have kids doesn't mean that I'm underqualified. I've gone and done my advancements on pre and post to understand the empathy and anxieties that women do feel in terms of pregnancy and movement and all that kind of stuff. But to discredit someone to say that they won't understand because I haven't gone through it is just doing a disservice to
I
me.
agree.
And when I kind of got to the root of that, and again, why journaling is so fucking important, that is literally facts. Like, there are surgeons out there that are practicing major surgeries and they haven't done the surgery themselves. They haven't had it. They can't experience it. Does that mean that they're shit at their job?
Yeah.
No. So, like, we have to stop saying that because you don't have a baby, you don't understand.
Yeah.
Because you're not married, you don't understand.
Yeah.
Because you don't have kids, you don't understand the love. We do.
Yeah.
On a different level,
Yeah.
whilst no one's life
true.
and circumstances are the same as yours. You will never understand my life because I've had severe depression and anxiety, but I'm not going to say that you haven't experienced anxiety and depression because you have had your own, like, perspective of that. So for me, that is a cop-out, like, saying that I won't understand and that I don't have enough empathy because I don't have kids and I don't understand how, you know, sleep deprivation. You're right, I don't.
Yeah.
But I do have empathy.
Yes.
And I can understand how it feels, but I can also understand from my studies how to get you out of that.
Yeah.
Because I am too qualified now. That's the hardest thing that I navigate from the mother community. It's very scary. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but like whenever I mentioned something on last week around pregnancy and the recommendations for all women, especially in pregnancy, pre and post, is 150 minutes of exercise training, unless medically advised, was my key word, right? Because a sedentary life is not good for a baby unless unless medically advised. And, you know, someone said, like, you know, how dare you pretty much shame me because I have severe nausea, I can't get out of bed. Now that's the problem. Unless medically advised, that story doesn't relate to you.
Yeah.
And we need to
feel
like
attacked.
stop projecting what you want out. And I actually messaged my course lady, which is so great, like she replies all the time, and I said to her, like, thank you so much for always spreading the most uncomfortable conversations, because she recommends firstly like doing crunches and all that kind of stuff when you're pregnant, even though there's so much people out there that are like, don't lay on your back, don't do this, don't get your heart rate up. Like, she is so the other way, because when she was pregnant with her 2 kids, she was pretty much told, okay, cool, now you're pregnant, now don't go to the gym. And I messaged her and said, like, thank you so much for being such an inspiration. I really do struggle to come on social media and say all of these things, because every single time I do, I get messages.
Yeah.
And like, how dare you don't understand, when you get pregnant, you'll get it. Like, okay.
I love though seeing more and more women now with big pregnant bellies at the gym.
Same. I fucking love it.
Yeah, because it's like they're showing you what's possible.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, we don't discount that it's hard growing a baby. Of course, it's going to be.
It's going to have its own
tiring.
challenges.
Yeah. But again, we all know the effects of moving your body and those good feeling endorphins afterwards. But also like core strength. We're talking about pelvic floor. Like, how many people have issues? Like, I even had a friend, she trained all the way through, still has pelvic floors issues after the fact. Like, sometimes enough isn't enough either.
Yeah.
So like, and you can try your best, but sometimes your body might just fail you anyway. But.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, even my own coach, she has just had her first baby, and she is a coach, and she tried everything to stay strength training, and she couldn't. In the end, she had to do Pilates.
Yeah.
And again, like, sometimes you know it all, and she's qualified in pre and postnatal too. She did everything that she knows, and sometimes the circumstances just aren't on your side, and that's the thing. It's just about adapting and like not being angry. Like, I think the thing is, like, people are so either black and white. It's either one thing or the other. And like, can you just remember that there is actually a middle ground? And that's what I constantly have to remind myself, even with like marriage. Like like I said, I've been with Matt, I don't know, 8, 9 or 10 years.
You need to do the math.
I know. I need to go on Facebook and see
8, 9 or 10.
You know, like, society tells me like, oh, well, if he hasn't done it yet, maybe you're not the one for him. And it's like, okay, well, there's actually a middle ground to this. Like, society says I need a ring. Maxie says I also need a ring, because society's telling me if he wanted to, he would by now. But actually, there's a middle ground of like, well, we've actually had amazing life, and like, we have been to Bali. Last year, for example, went to Bali 3 times, and we went over there for 3 weeks for one of them. This year we've done 2.5 weeks. Like, we've also built a pool. We've done so much things. Society tells us we need a ring, but babe, what if he's putting that money into like other things right now that are going to be for our future? So I guess like in everything, you just need to remember that there's like society, and then there's like a middle ground, and there's what you think's right, and you just need to find what works for you. And just remember that on social media, and even listening to this, there's going to be things that you're going to take, there's going to be things that you probably don't like to hear, and it's going to be your reality, that what you want to see, and there's no right or wrong.
Literally, everybody's on their own path.
Yeah, literally.
Like, I waited 11 years, so
yeah, and that's the thing. And like, just because we don't have kids doesn't mean that we're not in love with our partners, and we haven't met the wrong one, or we haven't met the right one yet, because that's why we haven't got kids. Like, we just have our own story, and that's the biggest thing that you need to remember. And that's one thing that I have learned, even just like in therapy, is like, sometimes what you see on social media actually won't be directed at you, because not everything is directed at you.
People feel targeted though.
Yeah.
They're like watching it, they're like, you're speaking to me, and I feel attacked, and it's like, nothing to do with
I know,
you in the
and
first
even
place.
all the disclaimers. It's like, not everything's directed at you, and if you can just remember one thing, that's what I want you to remember. So the biggest takes for me when we spoke, and like obviously in this, was just like, if you haven't got a house right now, say you're renting, and you're thinking about having kids in the next 1 to 2 years, start thinking about the house first.
Well,
now, ASAP.
And the deposit requirement has gone down to 5% as well, so it means that you can get into the market sooner.
And is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's good. Like, I think for a lot of people who are renting, they're already paying the cost of what a mortgage is. Like, I remember talking to one of my girlfriends.
That was me.
And,
that's why I bought.
Yeah. And
but now
like,
it's double.
Yeah, well, like, one of my girlfriends, she's like, oh yeah, the cost of rent is, $650. I'm like, oh, the minimum on my mortgage, because obviously, 10 years ago is like $700. So I'm like, you're you're paying what it cost me. I mean, yeah, I'm paying for the rates and all the other things, but I said for the most part, like, and again, people don't have to buy a house. They can buy a unit or an apartment or whatever. Probably not practical for babies, but I mean, stepping stones. And, you know, like they've got, like depending on how much you're buying for as well, like there's stamp duty concessions and things like that, first home grants. Like I think it's good that it's being more affordable at the beginning, because I think people can manage on the ongoing repayments, like especially when rent is
it's getting up there.
Pretty expensive. So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. But you don't feel like that's going to push houses up higher, because then it has more people. It means like
supply
it's already
versus
hot.
demand. Yeah, and I think that's where they've got the competition, is that there's probably people with higher borrowing power because you've only got a 5% deposit as well. Like that just naturally means that you don't have as high borrowing capacity. So like when you're thinking about where I'm going to buy a house, and again, that's why it might not be a house, especially to start with. And like Maxie said, stepping stones. You might not be there forever, but at least you've got your foot in the door. You know, you'll build up some equity in that property just over years, because that's generally what happens. Like property houses on average go up 7% on average. Like that's literally the long-term trend, is that they will go up. But, you know, we might have a slight slowdown with interest rates being on hold. But when they start going down again, there's going to be another uplift of supply versus demand. And, you know, like for me, I'm like, I'm not going anywhere from my house. Like I just think, what's the point of you know, getting something bigger at the moment?
Because then it's
then
I'm the exact same.
Cash flow, no more European holidays.
I'm the exact same, because we originally, again, and this is why like social media is like, you need to think of it's black and white, because people are always like, oh my god, your house is so amazing, but you haven't actually seen, like I've only just started sharing my house renovation because it was something that I kept private. I'm really I don't know, I get really a bit eerie about people knowing where I live, and so that's why you never really see like where I am, like kind of like located and all that kind of stuff. Like I get really eerie about that, even though my house is Fort Knox. But we've only been sharing that, and like if you had seen it 4 years ago, like it was all we could afford. And even still, you only see 2 rooms of my house because the rest of the house is not renovated, you know. And yes, we have a beautiful pool outside, but we also have literally the entire house to reno still. And we have a 1 bedroom and 1 small office, and there's no cupboard space, there's no like the laundry, it's like it's not existent. So remember that everything is a stepping stone. And this house was purely, when we bought it, it was like a high of lockdown. This house we spent way too much. We overbought, but
you're probably grateful that you did that.
In that house, it was, we literally put so many offers in and we couldn't get it, and we knew that it was a stepping stone. We knew that it wasn't forever. However, me and Matt have been constantly chatting, and he's like, you know, when we do the renovation, when we add on the master suite and like another bedroom, will you want to move? And honestly, no, because I know that the next step, it's like I'm gonna be having to repay more, and our interest rate has gone up double. Sorry, our repayment has been double. So when we first got this house, it was less than what we were renting for, and now it's double. And so I just think if I get the next step, that's even more. Like our mortgage is already through the roof for what our house is. And that's the thing that people don't realize. Like our mortgage is through the roof for what our house is. Like it's literally a 2 bedroom. Like, it's beautiful, but it's so small. Then if I know that I want to get the next house in Frankston South, oh my gosh. There goes holidays. There goes.
You've literally got the same life. You're just living in your house more because you can't do anything else.
And I don't want that.
All that extra income or the disposable income just goes into your mortgage repayments. And I think that's one thing like I talk to a lot of clients about is, you know, that less is more mentality. Because, and you know, Josh and I, we always had the idea of buying acreage and and I thought, okay, Josh, if we do this, you know, where our repayments are probably more than double what they are now, because anything we buy is going to be over $1 million.
That's the same as us.
Which is literally double.
It would be like 1.5. Like we just saw a house in Mount Eliza that would need full reno, and it's selling for 1.3.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to throw more money into it as well. And then I said, and then your time to maintain their property.
Yeah.
And I
I'm
said,
like,
it
you're already
takes-
busy.
Yeah. I was like, and
Bitch, you're already burnt out. No way. And that's exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, Matt, you're already burnt out.
It's
And
your
we
time
have
and money.
literally 600 square meter block. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
I know that. I said to Josh, I'm like,
No.
it took you 2 hours to get the hedging like this.
Yeah.
And, you know, an hour to do the lawns back and front. Because, yeah, we got a 650 square meter block. And I'm like, and that's your time. Like, you want to enjoy your downtime.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if you had an acre
I know.
of land.
Well,
to
my
be
dad was
maintaining.
always just working outside
Yeah.
because we had 2.5 acres.
Yeah.
And then my partner's dad, he just sold his house last year, and he was always outside. There's always jobs. Like,
Always.
you don't want to have to do more. I want
And imagine
more
cleaning
freedom.
a bigger house.
No.
Already, I'm like, I've got a 3-bedroom house and 1 lounge room. And I'm like, oh, you spend
I know.
so much time. But I'm like, and it's so small that I'm like, I'm actually very grateful for my small house because it's all we need. Yeah, but again, I'd be like, oh, and then people are like, oh, you need a bigger house because you need a second lounge room for the kids'
Yes.
shit. And I'm like, I don't want my kid to have shit.
But this is again like the things that you don't think about.
Mm.
Like, you actually need to think about like how much extra that is going to cost you
Yeah.
in the future and now. Like,
Yeah.
and then what kind of sacrifices would that make for you? Like, maybe I wouldn't be able to have iron fillets like 4 times a week.
I know,
Matt wouldn't
it's
be able
so
to go to the
sad.
butcher's and have his scotch fillet. We wouldn't be able to go to the Heritage on a Saturday and
Yeah.
spend $200 for a meal. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you would be a bit more conscious, and then it's like the consequences of that. Like, do I start to get resentment towards Matt because who knows why? You know, like, there's so many little things, and that's why everything I do is not just about like how I want to be perceived. It's how I want to feel. I don't care if I have a small house compared to bloody Sally who has a 6-bedroom house. I don't
Couldn't care
care.
less. Could not care less.
I'm
about
just
that.
focusing on me,
Yeah.
and then I know that I'm happy, and that's all that matters. And that's why your decision needs to be on like what you actually want,
Yeah, not on
not
what society
because
dictates.
society says you're getting old and like,
Yeah.
it's fine. You're gonna be okay. And
Yeah.
like, as 30-year-olds, I feel so young.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel so young, and I have never looked better. I've never been healthier. I've never been mentally more stable. And so let's just remember that your life doesn't actually end at 30. It actually gets better.
Begins. Yeah. I mean, they always say that your 30s is like your 20s. You just have more money, and that's
Yeah.
so true.
And like more
So
confidence and like more like
Cognitive
brain.
ability and
Yeah.
just being able to articulate yourself better
Yeah.
and like stand in your power
Yeah.
and be like, this is what I want and I'm going after it. Like, I've never been so headstrong in that. And because, you know, like 20-year-old me was, you know, insecure and unsure and didn't really know what she wanted and kind of was just, going along
Yeah.
with what society thought she should do. But
Yeah.
now it's like, cool, literally get to dictate everything that I do.
literally.
Like, here we are sitting in a car at the beach and it's like, we get to choose that.
I know. On a Monday, 11. Like, perfect. We
Yeah.
would never have had this
Yeah.
if it wasn't for growing up and getting smarter and hotter. Anyway, we hope that this has some way helped you kind of provoke your mind in a different way, something that's definitely not spoken about enough. And I definitely know that I'll be using my voice much more in the future, even though people love to project that maybe it's just I haven't met my soulmate yet. Because I think I have.
You have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.